If you think email is dead, this video is going to make you a lot of money. Because I've seen this mistake over and over again. Creators focus so much on the launch. They build advertising, they build a webinar, they build the social media content, they build video sales letter, they build the entire strategy. And then they think, oh, you know what? Maybe we should send some email. But that's the thing, email is not an afterthought. Email is the core of your launch. I'm Alessio Pieroni, and I spent the last 10 years working in this incredible industry. I used to be the CMO at Mindvalley, and I work with incredible people like Tony Robbins, Jordan Peterson, Marisa, Chef Ali Zabari, Danny Morel, and many more. I've done so many 7-figure launches, and all I can tell you is that in every single one of these launches, email was the core driver of the revenue and especially of the profit. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact 7-figure system that all creators use to make sure that they can make as much money as possible in their launch thanks to emails. You're going to discover how to warm up your list to the launch, how to make sure that they register for your event, how to make sure that then they actually show up for the event, participate, and get to buy the product, with email to send when you open the cart, when you need to handle objection, or when you need to drive scarcity. All of that is going to be covered in this amazing video. Because here is the big idea. A 7-figure launch is not built by sending random emails. It's built by using email to move people from interest to actually signing up, from signing up to attendance, from attendance to desire, and from desire to purchase. That's all you need to make a great launch. And today you're going to discover this system. Oh, and if you're new to this channel, I'm Alessio Pieroni, and I spent the last decade working in this incredible industry. I work with some of the biggest people in online education, and I've helped them to launch incredible courses and scale their online business. If you want to do the same, this is the best channel for you to actually learn everything, and all is free. So just make sure that you subscribe and stay tuned. Let's start with a big misconception. A lot of people just think that email isn't cool anymore. And I get it, email was so much better 10, 15, 20 years ago. Open rates were crazy. Today, no one reads email, right? Everyone is on Instagram, everyone is on WhatsApp, everyone is everywhere else. Well, that might be true, but at the same time, email is still by far the most profitable channel you will ever have. Think about it. In today's world, you don't own your followers. If tomorrow Instagram algorithm change, your followers are gone. That's what happened with Facebook 10 years ago. You don't own even your people on your WhatsApp, because these are part of Facebook and you might not be able to recontact them in the future, right? You don't own people on Telegram, because Telegram might change their algorithm tomorrow. The only things you actually own is your email list. And you did such a big work to get them inside your email list. Maybe you spend money on advertising. Maybe you did a lot of content on social media and you spend a lot of money to make that happen. Maybe you did affiliates and a lot of partnership and a lot of work went into that. And now those people are actually yours. It's the only place where you can actually own an asset, your database. Your email is literally the most important asset of your business. And that's why email is the most profitable assets in your company. Because if you make money from advertising, you need to pay a cut to Facebook or Google. If you make money from social media, you need to spend a lot of money to create the content. If you make money from affiliates, you need to pay the affiliate cut. But if you make money from email, well, the cost of sending an email is so small. It's basically 99% profit. And that's where it becomes a real asset. That's why I always say email is like real estate. You work so hard to bring those people and then actually become part of your email list. But once they're part of your email list, they are actually an asset. Imagine you own a land. And if you own a land, you can live there and do nothing. It's an asset, but you're not really doing anything with it, so you don't make any money. But then if you start building a house, if you start renting it out, if you start selling that part, these assets produce money for you. And it's the same with email. Once you have people that are part of your assets, part of your email list, the best thing that you can do is using those assets to generate more and more money. So every email you don't send, every way in which you don't communicate with your audience is a way in which you don't make money. It's a way in which you can take these assets and transform it into a revenue generating asset. That's all you have to do. And that's the core of making sure that email become the most profitable asset of your business. I know that someone of you is looking at this and thinking, oh, great, this is an asset, so I should send 5 emails a day and make as much money as possible. Well, not exactly, because it's an asset that you want to make sure that you protect and at the same time that you monetize. So you need to get a right balance. You need to get the balance of the nurturing, where you actually give a lot of value and make sure that people love your emails and they want to keep on opening. And on the other side, you need to make sure that you actually give the right hooks, as Gary Vee called them, which are the offers and the opportunity for them to purchase something from you. And just once you have the right balance between nurturing and monetizing, this is an asset that keep on improving, keep on generating more and more revenues for you and take your whole business to the next level. Now, when you talk about nurturing people in your email list, you are talking about sending them newsletters, sending them content, sending them value completely for free without them needing to sign up for anything. But once you talk about monetizing, all you're talking about is how do I make a launch? How do I use emails to drive registration and then later revenues to a specific launch that I'm doing? And that's where it becomes an incredible game. So today, we're going to focus exactly on the second part. How do we launch with emails and how do we generate as much revenue as possible from that? When it comes to launching and using email for launching, there is a system. That's what a lot of people don't understand. But there is a specific system. It's not just a series of reminder and random emails that you send here and there. There are very specific sequences that you need to make sure that you send every single time. And here are all the sequences that you need to send. Number one, the invite sequence. The invite sequence is the email sequence that allow you to take your own audience and send them to the event that you're doing. It might be a webinar, a challenge, a summit, anything. The whole point is taking your own list and sending them to your big launch. The second one is the show up sequence. You want to make sure that once people actually signed up, they can actually show up for this event. Then you do have the live sequence. Sometimes something very small, like a couple of emails. If you do a webinar, sometimes this might be bigger, like in a challenge or in a summit, in any multi-day event. You want to make sure that every single day people can keep on showing up and keep on coming to every single event that you're doing. And then after that, you have the sales sequence. After you did the event, how do you take those people and transform them into people that actually want to buy? Those are all the sequences that you need to have in your own launch. And this is what we're going to focus today on. In 99% of the launches that I made, all launches at an event. This event might have been a challenge, a webinar, a summit, a way in which you bring people together to make sure that you can instruct them, teach them something, and then sell a program. Now, you need to bring people to this event. That's the whole point of the launch. If you miss bringing people to the event, nothing is going to happen. How do you bring them in? Simple. You need to have an invite sequence. The invite sequence is the core of every launch, because once you can bring all your people in, again, almost for free, because you don't pay a lot of the email platform, then those people can really be monetized and generate a lot of revenue for you. So what do you need to do to bring people in? The first email that you might send, and this is not something that everyone always sends, is what we call the pre-launch email. This is an email that you send even before you announce the event. And you might say something like, hey, something big is coming. Stay tuned, because tomorrow or 2 days from now, I'm going to share a project that I've been working on for the past 3 years. This event is one of the coolest things that I've ever put together, and you don't want to miss out. Stay tuned. This creates anticipation. People can get excited and really want to make sure what's going to happen. And then you have the actual first email on the invite sequence, which is what we call the announcement email. The announcement email is pretty simple. You need to make sure that you create so much excitement and you announce the event as the coolest thing that you've ever been. In this email, you really want to make sure that you trigger all the different emotions so that people really want to sign up there on the spot. You want to make sure that you explain what problem you're solving, who is part of this event, when this is happening, and how everything is coming together. Once you do this, a lot of people are going to sign up and are going to be part of the event. We see this all the time. The announcement email is the email that gets more people to sign up. So always make sure you have a very strong announcement email. And then the second email is what we call the www email. Why all these W's? Okay, because you want to make sure that in this email you go a lot more into the details. And this is simple because sometimes people need to know where the event is happening, when the event is happening, what is the event exactly about, who is speaking at the event. And once you put all those information together, you get a bit more into clarity. And that's what people need, because the first email is very emotional. It's very the big launch that you've been waiting for. And the second email is a bit going into the mind, because people are like, wait, I didn't understand exactly what's happening. So that's exactly what you're trying to solve with the second email. And then you go a lot more into what we call the story-based email. There are so many different stories that you can tell in a launch. So I'm going to give you a few ideas of the way in which I normally build those invite sequences. You might want to start with a hero's journey story. So a personal story is always very important. And the more you can connect with your audience, sharing your own story of why this event came to be and how this actually affects you, it changes everything. And you might want to start by saying something like, when I was a kid, I had this big problem and I didn't know how to solve it. And growing up, I solved it. And I always wanted to make sure that I wanted to change this for so many people as possible. And that's why I'm putting together this event. So that's the classic hero's journey story, where you start with your hero's journey, you explain how you overcame this problem, and then now you explain how you want to take this to the next level by giving them an incredible event. That is a lot more personal than a lot of other stories. Another way to create a story-based email is to do a results in advance email. This usually is very important if you have something very practical that you can actually teach. And you can do that maybe in a couple of minutes, maybe in a couple of seconds. Maybe you can do that directly in the email itself. Now, this email becomes very good because you're not just talking about a topic that is similar to the event that you're doing. You're actually giving them some result and telling them, look, these little results that you got here in this email is nothing compared to what you're going to get into the 5-day challenge that we're doing together. So make sure to actually sign up and come to the event. Another email is the paradigm shift. This is an email that is a core of the way in which we launch. And the entire idea is that we really want to make sure that everyone that arrives look at the problem in a very different way. Why do we want to do that? Because every teacher that you love them because they made you think something in the opposite way in which you thought it in the beginning. When someone shifts your thinking, you will remember them forever. And the more you're able to create this in an email sequence, the more you're able to make people think, wait a second, I never thought about trauma in this way. I never thought about building a business in this way. Now I'm curious. Let's get into the event. That's really need to be the thing that you want to make sure that happens in your specific story. And then we may want to create objections email. Those objection email can still be story-based email, but they start from one of the major questions, one of the major objections that people have. Let's imagine you're doing an event about AI, and people have the objection of, I'm not a techie, I cannot join an AI event. And then you need to break the objection by saying exactly how this event is for everyone, even if you don't know anything about AI. Well, you can do that by giving a story. You can tell the story about someone that really were able to shift and solve this objection like they would. And the more you do it with a story, the better it is. Now, we're almost at the end of the invite sequence. And what you want to make sure right now is that people already sort of know your topic, they got announced, they know the logistics, they know everything of that. So right now they need to feel a bit the FOMO. And how do you do that? With 2-3 things. Number one, testimonial. If you did this event in the past, you want to make sure that you put as many testimonials as possible, as many results that people got from this event, so that then they can actually say, oh, I need to show up because so many people came in the past and loved it that I need to go as well. Another great way to use this is to simply say, oh, we already had 10,000 people that signed up for this event. You don't want to miss out. It's going to be the biggest event ever. And then you want to go a bit more into reminders and scarcity. Something like we start in 48 hours, we start in 24 hours, we start in 15 minutes. This is incredibly important because the more you're able to give this scarcity, the more people actually want to show up. So very, very, very important. Make sure that you always use the psychological trigger because those emails are very important, and we do see so many people signing up through the last minute emails. Now, throughout the invite sequence, there are very few rules that you always need to respect. And those rules are pretty simple. Number one call to action. The only thing that matters in an invite sequence is that people actually sign up to the event. So join the challenge, join the webinar, join the summit, but make sure that everyone sign up for your event. And repeat the CTA multiple times per emails. We have seen that repeating the same CTA 3 times per email, 2 times in the body and 1 time in the PS line really makes a difference in terms of click that you get and obviously in terms of how many people signed up for the event. Now, if you follow all these steps, I'm pretty sure that you got a good amount of people that came from your email and that are now signed up and are super excited to join your event. Awesome. You got people to register. So you got a lead, right? Well, not exactly. You got someone that filled in a form. But if you don't do anything with that, well, they just won't show up. And in today's world, we are bombarded with so many different messages that more and more people just sign up for a webinar and then they even forget that they signed up for it, right? So it's very important that you don't just send some reminders, but that you actually go and create a strategy to make sure that they show up for this event. It's really, really important. Now, the first step for it is that you need to create an incredible confirmation email. I know that this sounds basic, but they need to get an email right after the sign up, usually 1 or 2 minutes after the sign up. Why is this important? Number one, the confirmation email has by far the highest open rate and click rate of your entire sequence. So everyone opened the email right after the sign up because they want to see the details. And in those details, there needs to be written everything. So number one, the logistics. You want to make sure that you can see there the link to actually join the event. You want to make sure that there is written everything. At what time is happening, where is happening, is it on Zoom, is it on another platform? You need to know every of that. And then usually you want to give a few different pointers from adding to calendar. It's a huge part to make sure that people will actually show up. Or if you have a community, maybe a WhatsApp community or a Facebook community, make sure that you put the link of this community right there in the email. It makes a huge, huge difference. And then you want to make sure that you give them an incentive for them to show up. The best thing by far that we have found through all the different clients that we work with is that the best way to make people show up is to give them an award to show up. And that's the core focus of the show up sequence. What you want to do is that you get a great gift, and this gift is going to be given to everyone that shows up. And the focus of the show up sequence isn't much the event. It's a lot more the gift that you're going to give if they show up to the event. The more you are able to do that, the more they will be excited and the more they want to actually come and get this gift. Sometimes you don't even give the gift just after they show up, but you give the gift if they show up and they stay till the end of the event. This is really key. It's the game that we really want to make sure that we play because it changes everything. The more people that want to show up, the more people they will be there. Now, how does the rest of the show up sequence actually work? Well, it's pretty simple. You want to mirror as much as possible the invite sequence. Same content, same concepts, but then instead of giving a call to action to sign up, because they obviously already sign up, you want to change this call to action and send it to your community or to add to their calendar to make sure that they have a higher chance that they will show up. And in the PS line, always remember the bonus that they will get if they actually come to the event. That's really game changer. Now, a lot of you might be asking, hey, Alessio, what about WhatsApp? What about SMS? Should we do something with that? Absolutely yes. If you collected the phone number, you really want to make sure that you also send those messages while you send the email sequence. It really makes a difference, especially today. They have a higher open rate, and for those kind of reminders, SMS and WhatsApp really changed the game. So you really want to send those messages. Now, in the last day before the event, this is where the magic of the show up sequence really happens. You really need to send a lot of reminders. And I know it's annoying, but trust me, it does make a difference. You always want to send a 24 hours reminder, a 6-hour reminder, a 1-hour reminder, and a 15 minutes reminder or a live now. It's a lot of emails, but those really make a difference to make sure that people come, show up on time, and are there for the event. Again, focus a lot on the actual gift that you're going to give them if they show up. That's really going to make a big difference. Now, what's a good show up rate? Normally, different events have different show up rates. If we are talking about a summit, we would expect a 30% show up rate. If you're talking about a webinar, we are aiming towards a 20% show up rates, but that's kind of the goal. It highly changes if you're having a lot of warm traffic or if you're having a lot of cold traffic. So there is definitely a lot of nuances in these numbers, but that's really what makes the difference. You really want to make sure that you keep on sending those emails, those WhatsApp reminders, because that's the best way to make sure that people actually come to the event. And then after you do the event the first time, you always want to relook at these numbers and understand what can we fine tune to make sure that things get better and better and better and better. That's the only way in which your show up sequence will get better every time and you will get way more people to actually show up. Now, people are showing up, people attend your event, people are excited about that. What do we do next? Well, next we need to sell. So let's go into the sales sequence. Now, let's get into what matters the most. How do we make money from emails? And that's where the sales sequence come in. At the beginning of this video, we talk about that you need to nurture and you need to monetize. Well, this is the monetization part. Sometimes some of the creators I work with, they get a bit weirded out by that. And they're like, no, I just want to send value. I just want to send them a reminder to purchase. That's not how it works. You need to sell. And especially in a launch, you normally have a specific amount of time that your cart is open, and you really need to focus to make sure to generate a lot of revenues when this cart is open. If you missed out this window, you missed out on a lot of revenues. So this is the moment to sell. You can sell by giving value, but at the same time, you really need to make sure that you sell. Like, sale is not just a byproduct of some random story. Sale is a full strategy that you need to make sure that you put together with a series of emails. Let's go look into the different type of emails. So number one, you were in your event, you presented your product. So you need to make sure that the first email is an announcement of the product. So similar to the announcement email that we had in the first invite sequence, this is the announcement of the product. And you need to show it like the best thing since sliced bread. This needs to be the biggest product ever that people really need to purchase. They really need to go there. They really need to make sure that they get the product straight away. Again, this email is emotional. You need to make sure that you trigger a lot of emotions in the email so that people can actually go and take to the next level, which is buy the product, take out the credit card and purchase. So that's the game. You need to focus on this email. Then after that, you normally might have a couple of emails that are a bit more replay oriented. If you're doing a webinar, if you're doing a challenge, you might have a couple of days where you still allow people to watch the replay. This is important because you will get a few other people to bring in. And at the same time, you need to make sure that you still mention the product you're selling, because this is really the game, right? After that, you want to start moving away from emotions and start focusing a bit into the mind, because that's what usually happens with buyers. In the beginning, they buy with emotion. After, they start getting a lot of questions, which is like, wait a second, when is this program happening? What are the different things that are included? What are the bonuses again? And now it's time to go into the mind. We focus on the emotion first, and a lot of people buy emotionally. But then there are a lot of other people that didn't buy. This doesn't mean that it's a no, it's just a not yet. So we really need to transform this not yet into a yes. And how do we do that? Answering the questions that are going on in their mind. The most typical question is exactly, okay, tell me a bit more about the product. I didn't really understand this part. So you really want to make sure that you explain what are all the different features, all the advantages, all the benefits, all the different part of the product that you're selling. Another big part, and we usually have a separate email for that, is the bonus email. So you want to make sure that you wrap up again what are all the different bonuses that they're getting. And if you have some scarcity driven bonus, make sure that you put the scarcity also there in the email. Another big part is FAQs. A lot of time they have a lot of questions. So do an FAQ email to make sure that you answer all of those different questions. But you really want to make sure that you go on the mind of people that are doubtful, that are not sure, that question, should I actually buy this or not? And one of the best way to do that, handle objections. Always collect from all the people that are part of your launch, what are their biggest objection? Why are they not buying? What's happening to them? And once you figure out their objection, you need to understand how to break these objections. Sometimes a testimonial, sometimes your own story. And this is where you can use stories to add value to people. But at the same time, the concept isn't to just tell a story. The concept is I need to tell a story to break an objection so that people will buy. So focus a lot on sharing testimonials, sharing your own story, sharing things from your life, but that will allow people to convert. And then there is another huge element in launches, which is the scarcity. If you have a closed cart event, you really know that a lot of people will buy right before closing the cart. It's annoying, I know, but that's what happens. And that's what you also need to make sure that you drive. And how do you do that? Send a 48 hours reminder, 24 hours reminder, and a last minute reminder. And you can do scarcity in different ways. Number one, you can just close the cart and people cannot buy anymore. Another one is that if you have a live course of a program, you simply say, hey, the course starts on this day, so you have to buy. Another one is that you raise prices. This is very interesting. In Mindvalley, where we always had programs that were going on every single time, and we really need to make sure that people will purchase, we will just raise the prices. So we will have a scarcity in the webinar with a specific price point that will be there just during the webinar. And then another price point in the sales sequence. And then after 7 days, this price point will change and will go to another one. It's very important that you make sure that you always have scarcity. Launches are driven by scarcity, and if you don't use this, if you don't create emails around scarcity, this is not really happening. And remember, as we said before, scarcity isn't just like a time, isn't just like a price going up. Scarcity is also social proof. So showing, oh my God, we got already 1,000 people that join our program, and we can't wait to have you there as well. People feel the FOMO. People feel the, oh my God, I'm missing out. I really need to join this program. So let me make sure I purchase and I go to the next level. And this is how you do a fantastic sales sequence. When someone doesn't buy during your sales sequence, usually they have an objection. And that's what you really need to learn how to handle. And the more you can handle objections in your emails, the better your sales sequence will be. So let's go through the top 3 objections that people usually have, and let's figure out exactly how to solve that. The first one, I don't have money. I've run, I don't know how many surveys on hundreds of products, and the number one reason why people don't buy is like, I don't have money. Now, here is the fun thing. I've run these in a product that costed $49 and product that costed $5,000. And people didn't have money for both. So are we just marketing to broke people, or there is something else behind? Clearly, there is something else behind, because everyone has $49, right? The problem is that they don't think that your product is worth $49. So the real question is it actually worth it for me to purchase this? And that's where everything changes. You really want to make sure that you show the value that you are actually providing. And there are a few different ways in which you can do this. Number one, you can actually do that by anchoring the pricing. and showing them, look, if you go outside of here and you don't want this course, but you go in the market, how much will it cost for you to purchase this? And that cost will be 10x. Now, if you get my course, this will be a lot lower. That's why you should purchase. Another way to do it is to focus on ROI versus COI. So don't focus a lot on the return on investment that they may get, but on the cost of inaction. What would it cost them not to take your program? What would it cost them not to make the change that they're actually trying to make? And focusing on that, having an email around the cost of inaction is something that can really move them a lot more than any ROI that you can promise them. Now, the second objection that might come up is I don't have time. This is a very big one because people are always busy, they buy a lot of programs, they don't know. The reality is that what they're really asking is, this is not really a big priority for me. And what you need to do in this case is do two different things. Number one, show them exactly why this is so important that you need to find the time. And the other one is reducing their expectation of time to make sure that this will actually happen. So make sure that you understand, hey, this is just like a 20 minutes a day thing. Everyone has 20 minutes a day if you think that this is important enough. And once you focus these 20 minutes in changing this part of your life, you can change so many things and it will be absolutely worth it. And give a lot of testimonials here. I always like to close objection loops with testimonials that prove exactly what's happening. So if you have, I don't have time testimonial, show the example of a busy mom of 3 kids that is working and did the course and changed something in her life. Or of a busy executive that is a CEO and doesn't have time neither to sleep, but did the course and changed his life. So the entire game is exactly how can you show that this is not a real objection, but that a lot of other people in your same situation were able to take it to the next level. And then another one is, yes, I get it, but will this work for me? And the will this work for me is very important because everyone has a special situation. And yet you need to take the most special situation that you have of your customers and you need to actually bring them there. Sometimes I see people saying, hey, look, a 13-year-old did this program and was able to do this. Or a 90-year-old did this program and was able to do that. Or an unemployed person did this program and was able to do that. Or a busy mom did this program and was able to do that. Or an executive did this program and was able to do that. So whatever situation, bring them here because you never know who you're talking to and what will trigger your customer to actually make that decision. But testimonials is everything. The more you can handle an objection by showing a story of someone else in their shoes, the easier it is for them to get convinced and take the decision to go to the next level and make that purchase. Now, let's talk a bit about segmentation, should we? This is a big difference between small launches and big launches. But big launches really have a huge amount of segmentation. We have seen this over and over again. The more you can segment and the more you can create emails that are more specific to those people based on the element that you have, the better it will be. We have seen this in different cases, especially like we've seen people doing segmentation for email coming from specific affiliates. We've seen segmentation based on people that are clicking on an email or not. Segmentation based on people that sign up or don't sign up. Segmentation based on people that actually show up to the event or don't show up. Segmentation even based on people that show up to the event, don't arrive at the pitch, and then cannot purchase. Segmentation of people that purchased last year. Segmentation of people that purchased similar product but didn't go on this. And this can get very complicated. Like those email sequences that I mentioned before could become 5 sequences segmented every single time. And I've done some launches that did $3-4 million. And every time I've done this, the segmentation was actually pretty crazy because we went so specific in every single segment. And this to me is a huge part because remember, email is real estate. And if I know that there are these specific people that have a higher chance to purchase and I could just tweak the email and do it in a specific way that they will be purchasing a bit more, that's a lot more profit that I can generate from this launch. Seems small, but it's actually pretty huge. But at the same time, if you're a small creator, this can become a nightmare. Imagine that already all the sequences that I mentioned are like 25, 30 emails that you need to write. And if you need to do 5 sequences for each one of these, this might become like 150 emails. It's like insane, and you cannot handle it all of that. So here is my big suggestion. If you're just starting out, don't segment. Send everything to everyone, and that's the best thing that you can do. If you want to add some segmentation, the first step where I will start is segment people based on who shows up for your event and who doesn't. If your tech is not that sophisticated, look, it's very simple. People that click on the show up sequence email or that didn't click. That's the way in which I would do it if I would just start from scratch. And then the other ones is buyers versus non-buyers. People that purchase something from you in the past are a lot more likely to purchase something from you in the future. So always make sure that you have some specific segmentation for them if you can. But again, it can go very bananas. It can go very crazy to segment your list a lot. So I will simply say, focus on sending all the emails, on building all the sequences as a thought. And then once this will actually work out, start going to the next level and the next level and the next level. But don't overkill it in the beginning. Last but not the least, we need to talk about numbers. Let's talk a bit about some metrics so that you understand if you're doing good or if you're doing bad. Now, number one metric that you want to know is your open rates and click rates. These are the most important email metric that you always need to know. To your general list, you will want to have an open rate of around 30% and a click rate of around 1%. If it's above that, great, keep on doing like that. Maybe you can also send a bit more emails to make sure that you are not underusing your email list. And then if you're below that, okay, look into that. Maybe you're not nurturing enough and not giving enough value, and people are not too excited about the email that you're sending. Now, once people sign up for your funnel and they start receiving the show up sequence or the sales sequence, here the open rate and click rate change. So the open rate in a show up sequence might even go up to 50%, in some cases even 55%. That's huge. That's exciting. And then you will see that most of all this email will go usually down. You will have a spike during the live sequence on the reminders, on people that will actually want to click and go to the event. And then you will have emails going down in the sales sequence. Especially in the sales sequence, you will see your click rate going down. So to simplify, when you are in your own funnel, you will have open rate between 50% and 30% and click rate between 2% and 1%. This is the metric that you always want to have. It is normal that when you are in the sales sequence, some emails will have below 1% click rate, and that is because you're asking people to purchase something and they might not want to purchase yet, but that's part of the game. The better are your emails, the more they will want to purchase. Now, another big question that people always have is, Alessio, how much money should I make from my email? Now, the golden rule is that you should make $1 per email subscriber every single month. So if you have 10,000 people in your email list, you should make $10,000 a month from your email. In some cases, this might not be possible. In some cases, you might have a 50 cents per email subscriber or even a 10 cents per email subscriber. That's something that you need to actually go deeper and understand. You always want to make sure that you keep your email list clean, okay? You want to refresh your email list every 3 to 6 months and make sure that if someone didn't open any of your email in the past 120 days, you remove them from your email list. This is best practice and really make a difference. I know it's annoying because you spend a lot of money and it's your real estate, and giving away part of your real estate for free, it's very bad. But trust me, if you keep emails for too long in your email list, you will start seeing a big mess that might affect your entire rest of the real estate, even the one that is working. So make sure you always clean things up. And once your email list is clean up, having that $1 per email subscriber is the goal that you always want to achieve. So we went through a lot of different concepts here. Okay, so let's bring it all together because I know that we talk really a lot about a lot of things. Number one, email is still very cool. And email is the most profitable channel that you will ever have in your business. So make sure to treat it really as the core of your business. It's the only asset that you truly own. So remember about that. It is digital real estate. You spend a lot of money to acquire it, and now you need to make sure to treat it as an asset. Make sure to nurture it, to make it grow, and at the same time to monetize it. Just in this way, your business will be really healthy. So there are always two phases: the nurturing part, where you give value, where you tell your newsletter, where you tell your stories, and then there is the monetization part. This is where the launch system come together. And the launch system has different phases. There is the pre-launch, there is the invite sequence, there is the show up sequence, there is the live sequence, the sales sequence, and you really need to make sure that throughout this process, you really focus on the objection and you really focus on segmentations and metrics. Segmentation is very important to get started in a simple way, not to overcomplicate it at the beginning, but if you really want a 7-figure launch, that's where you need to go a lot more sophisticated. And then, in terms of metrics, always make sure that you keep your open rate above 30%, your click rate above 1%, and that you generate $1 per email subscriber every single month. This is really the core of the email strategy. Once you're able to do that, your business will have a lot better profits, and this will take everything to the next level. So I'm Alessio Pironi. I run Scale for Impact, which is one of the biggest marketing agency in the online education industry. We work with some of the most amazing brands, from Tony Robbins to Mindvalley, Jordan Peterson, Marisa Peer. And if you want to take your email to the next level, your launches to the next level, you can always book a call with us below. So if you are a course creator that make more than 250K a year, we are the perfect fit for you. If not, don't worry. The best thing you can do is to subscribe and like this video. Make sure you stay tuned and look at all the different things that we're putting out, because we want to give so much value to you that one day we're going to work together. So I hope that this video was great for everyone, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.